What do you get if you combine a gigantic wheel that drives using an internal counterweight with the narrow profile of a 10-speed bicycle wheel? You end up with something that looks just like this. It's crazy, it's fast, it's fun, it's decorated with dragon harpoons to make the little swirly pattern, and it really is kind of the combination of those two other vehicles. It's got a counterweight to drive, it's a single wheel, but it's narrow. And the combination of those things just allows it to zip right down to the treasure and do it pretty reliably. The only fault that I've seen with it is the squid arms can sometimes reach up and grab the seat out of there if you're in just the wrong position at the wrong time. Ooh, that was lucky. Blank stage. It's always nice. It's like the game giving me a little gift. There we go. That thing is so awesome, and it does that, reliably. There are jets on it in case you get a little out of control. Sometimes it can hit a rock or something. It doesn't break with the protection blocks, and it can fling you up into the air a little bit. And the jets just help you get it back in track. And I'll show you all about that thing right now. So here we go. I'm just going to get inside here. I'm going to turn on everything so you can see it. That's it right there. So it's got all this protection block up front, all this plastic. It has counterweight underneath it. Let's see how much counterweight we have here. This one is 4,000 counterweight, 4,000 titanium to be more precise. So it has 6 dragon harpoons just for decoration. They totally don't need to be there. It works exactly the same without it. The jets sit outside of the spinning wheel column so that they are always oriented the same as the seat on the inside. And in that way, it's connected with this central bar right here. Oh, let me turn off my build tool. So the central bar right there connects onto the bottom of the seat up in there, and that connects to this little cross member here. And of course, that's collision off, so the wheel can zip, the spokes, can zip through there. And the counterweight and the protection blocks are all in line with the seat as well. So that wheel is the only thing that's really spinning. Here, let's just drop it and show you what that looks like. There we go. So that's what it looks like when it's running. You can obviously see the counterweight dips a little bit, or it causes the protection blocks to dip a little bit just because of the angle of the seat. But I can change that because I do have a pilot seat in here. So you drive with on a keyboard, as I'm on a PC, so I'm using A and D to go right and left, and it just works just like a plane does. And then I'm using T and G to go forwards and backwards. And the dragon harpoons are not they're not binded to anything, so they're just there for decoration, but it does add a neat effect. I kind of like that. I just added those a few minutes ago. Oh, cool thing about it. Let me check this out. It can look just like one of those art things, a spirograph or whatever you call it, where you put your pencil in the little geared thing and you go in a big circle, and it makes crazy patterns because it's got other gears interlaced with it. So I think that's kind of neat. If you get it spinning right, you can make it so that the tip does not move, and the front edge of it doesn't move, and the back end just goes around in a circle like it's drifting. And that's actually a really neat pattern then, but it's really hard to get it reliably into that mode. You can see how cool it is though. It's almost distracting me from driving because I did just add them, so that's just kind of new. I'll get used to that, I guess. If you want to build this thing, you know what? Heck with it. Let me just show you how to build it. It's pretty easy actually. All right. Okay, I'm just going to start with a gold block, and I'm going to raise it up a little bit here just to get it out of the dirt. And I'm going to bring it back up to 2x2, and let's make it like 12. There, 12 wide to begin with. I'm going to place a gold block on each end of that one. And these we're going to clone, we're going to duplicate them. We're going to put another one of those right inside of itself. So I'm going to just clone it down and back up. And there we go. Now I'm going to grab them and rotate 15 degrees. So I'm going to grab the bottom of them and I'm going to rotate that one in. Grab this one, rotate it in. And I'm going to grab those other ones that are inside there and rotate them out. And this just makes the V-shaped pattern that we need for the next step. Okay, now I'm going to grab that one and we're going to go up and then grab the one that goes along with it and bring it up. And kind of going to bring them up to a point, let's see, 28. Ooh, 28 sounds good. So that's the length of that thing is 28 right there right now. And now this one, I'm going to go down 28. Now it's below the ground, but I'll just raise that up in just a second. Grab the other one, go down to 28. I'm just watching my number over here on the left on the scale tool. Alright, now I'm going to grab the whole thing with my trowel tool and make sure that you grab your center block right there so that you get your vertical and horizontal reference good and square. I'm just going to move it up out of the dirt. There we go. That's just a little easier to play with then. I'm going to grab some sand and slap that on right at the center of that block. Now if you're ever curious about the center, you can go to the scaling tool and you can see that the bubbles are right there, or you can use the trowel tool and see that the little arrows are right there, or this, no, that doesn't work. Anyway, this one here we're going to pull down so that it ends up looking the same there as it does up here on top. If I can get in there somewhere, that's where I want to be, right there. So that makes the top and the bottom look the same. And then we're going to go ahead and just place a block right there. That's a sand block, and this one is also a sand block. And then I don't need this one anymore, although I do need to scale that one in. So the reason I did that was just to get a good reference. And let's see, do I need to go? I can go farther. Yeah, I can go farther. So making this one nice and thick will help it be a nice strong wheel in the future. So I'm going to 8 on that one and 8 on this one. And now we're going to do our first, let's see, let me fix this right here. So this thing here I'm going to bring in, I'm going to change to 0.25 adjustment, and we're going to just slide that guy in there and slide this one back. Let's see, 27.25, 27.25, awesome. We'll do the same thing on this side, 27.25, and the same there. Okay, so that just kind of makes that point just a little bit better defined. It's not perfect. You can see there's a little gap. Okay, not going to worry about it. I'm going to grab this whole thing and I'm going to make sure that, yes, we are referenced to this block right there. Now I'm going to clone it, and I'm going to change my distance here to 10 just so I can kind of get it away, just so I can see it. That way if you ever mess anything up, you've got setting aside and you can easily reselect it. So you can see right now as I cloned it, it shifted its orientation. So I'm going to go ahead and select this and then select it again to get the orientation corrected. And then I'm going to move that back in, and then we're going to use 15-degree rotation because that is my favorite. It is enough. You can do more, but it's unnecessary. Okay, now I'm going to grab this thing. I'm going to go all the way down to 0.05. No, I probably don't need to. Since I've got it there, let's see what it looks like. So I'm going to drag these things together. And right now we're just trying to find out what distance, what number makes these things match up with each other right here on this edge. And so you need to make sure that this block is the same as that block. So it looks like 4.8 in this particular case. And there's a little bit of an overlap there. I don't actually want an overlap. I would rather it be a gap. So I'm going to go, oh, that is 4.8. 4.8 does make a gap. Okay. I'm good with that gap. That's a good gap. Okay. So it started out as 2, so I need to add 2.8 to every one of these things. And there's a couple of different ways you can approach that. Let's just go ahead and 2.8. Since I'm already here and I've already got one clone, I will just go ahead and make these what they need to be, and then we can go ahead and finish the cloning process. Awesome. And select the entire thing. Make sure you don't get your jetpack in the selection. Grab a block that's got the right orientation, and then we're going to go ahead and clone it that way. And then we're going to make sure we've still got the same orientation by unselecting and reselecting, and then just move it back, and then switch to rotation and go 2 notches. Now we're going to grab the whole thing again, not the jetpack, and we're going to grab that orientation again, and we're going to clone it. And we're going to make sure that we've still got the same orientation. We're going to move it back. And then we're going to rotate 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to do that same thing again. So this time I've got these guys selected, and they're an odd rotation thing. But as long as you select the same piece every time, so I'm going to use that one this time. I'm going to clone it. I'm going to just clone it up this time. And now this is the piece I need to make sure I reference because it used to be there. So I'm going to unselect it, reselect it, move it back. And then I'm going to go to my rotate, and I'm going to rotate 4 more times. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the wheel is done. That's not too bad. Now there's too many spokes on here. We need to be able to get into it and get through it, and we do not need this many spokes. So I'm going to delete some of them. How about that one, and that one, and this one, and this one. So you want to delete the center ones, for one thing, because you're going to have a counterweight bar coming out through here. And then every other one all the way around. Awesome. That looks pretty much like the vehicle I just built. Now in here somewhere is the block with the correct orientation. I think it's that one. And yes, you can see that is the one. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that one. I'm going to move it 20. And let's do a move. I'm just going to put it out there somewhere. And now I can come in here and clean all this stuff up. We don't need any of these other blocks, so I'm going to delete, 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 and just clear them out. And I know that I have this block. I can just move it right back by 20. It's in dead center, and it's oriented correctly for what we need. Now, I'm going to put some wheels on it. Let's use, you can use whatever wheels you want. Old wheels may not be the best choice. Back wheels, definitely want to use back wheels because you don't need them turning. You'll use the other controls for that. So I'm going to use these peppermint wheels, and I'm going to scoot this thing in. Let's see, that's set to 2.8. Let's go back to 1, and we want to just scoot it in here. 1, 2, 3. We'll put a wheel on there and see how it looks. I got to rotate it. So that might clear. I can see that it's a little tight right here. This distance here. Let's go ahead and move it in another. That almost looks like a one stud kind of move. Let's delete that and just go back here and just do one more stud in on either side. It's actually good to kind of protect those wheels, to have them inside, and just like that. So if something comes along and hits this thing, let's see if we can see it with this tool. Yeah, we can. So it's still kind of sticking out there, but we do have 2 of them, and they're going to be connected together. So if either one of them fails, you're still okay. You know, I could probably move that in another notch. How about we go in another 0.5? So this is the unscripted part of my build. I didn't really keep track of what I built before, so it's difficult to rebuild it exactly as it was, but it doesn't need to be exactly as it was because it really is kind of a sloppy as okay kind of build in a way. That looks good. That looks good. Okay, awesome. So wheel speed, we could go ahead and set that up now while I'm thinking of it. Wheel speed, I don't remember what I had the other one set to. Let's go all the way up to high torque. Let's go to 20 wheel speed. I think that's going to be too fast, but who knows. And let's see, I can put a pilot seat on it right there, just like that. And let's grab this block, and let's see, we can use the same block. We can actually just go down with it. And I just need to go down here. That's an even number, 18 right there. And then I'm going to place another gold block on it. So for this thing, we're making the bar that, you know, I just realized I don't want that block to have collision on because it might hit the spokes as it goes around. I do want it to be nice and strong and thick. So I'm going to go ahead and clone it. So a lot of times when I make a kind of a halfway mistake like that, I just clone it, put it back in, and then you can take one of them, you can just grab it and move it back up, and watch your number over here on this side, and I'm going to move it back up to a 2x2 like that, and then this one here I can turn collision off on that one, and it invades the other one up on top underneath my seat, but that's okay. And if I can get that positioned on there, Oh, it's a really thick one. Okay, that's understandable. And it actually doesn't need to be that thick, so I could just go back down to 2 by 2 on that one. Okay, now this one, let's go out like 10 or something. See what that looks like. Oh, that's really far out there. Okay, I don't need 10. Let's do 5. That should be plenty. Just looking for something to grab onto for the counterweight. Okay, and here we go. I'm going to do 2 more blocks there, and let's go ahead and move this guy down into this one, so they overlap. And that the overlap is probably unnecessary, but it's my little way of reassuring myself that it's going to be okay. That it's never going to come apart, you know. Alright, so here is dual reinforcement for our counterweight. And let's see, let's go ahead and move this whole thing up a little bit more. Got to get it a little farther away from the dirt. There we go. And I don't remember exactly how far I went the last time below the unit, but let's go. That was 24. That was good. Yeah, it's kind of a willy-nilly thing. It'll probably work out just fine. Okay, counterweight time. So I'm just going to put a big block in here. I'm using the use the center point here to make sure it's centered, and the fact that you have even numbers over here kind of means the same kind of thing. And there we go. Let's see, so that other one I used like 4,000, I think it was, for my counterweight. That's not centered. That is centered. Okay, again, even number. So this one here, 510. So I'll need a few more before that becomes the counterweight that I need. I'm going to scoot these guys down in here. Again, just kind of make sure everything's locked together. I'm going to go to a clone. I'm going to make a few more of these. So there's that one. Grab both of those. Now I'm multiplying it times 2. And now I'm going to multiply it times 4. Now I've got 8 blocks inside here, and look at that. 4080, 4,000 counterweight. Good enough. Okay, boy, I could just test it right now. That sounds like a really good idea. It looks good. Looks like it'll work. Alright, let's turn some collision off here so we can give it a proper test. That one, this one, this one. That's it. Collision off on those guys. And that included my jetpack. Everything else is anchored. Everything's anchored. Good. I need a save slot. Awesome. Reloaded. Saved it and reloaded it. I'm going to jump in here, and I need to do the bindings. I'm going to use the binding tool. I'm going to undo the original bindings and then click them again. I'm using, whoops, that's backwards. I'll have to redo that. Let's try that again. Undo. Alright, there we go. Backwards is first. How odd. And then forwards. Cool. And I already set some wheel speed and some torque. We'll see how that works. Let me resave this. I don't need to reload right now, but I will drop the thing. And let's see how we go. That is working. Probably needs a little bit of refinement. I'm not so sure that I need that much wheel speed. Actually, that's probably exactly what I had on the other one. I probably had 20 on it too. Let's see if it'll go to the treasure. No protection blocks. Just drive into the treasure. Oh, there's no I don't have any jets on here yet either, so this is just plain dangerous. Hey, that worked out all right. there we are at the treasure. Alright, so from here, it needs some protection blocks because they do help just a little bit. But as you can see, you can get there just like that. Alright, got her loaded up again. Let me grab some plastic and get us some protection block on this thing. Just going to center my plastic right here in the middle of the counterweight at the bottom. I'm going to make it pretty good size. That one is 6 by 4. Totally big enough. And you can go ahead and extend it out the back. You can extend it way out the front. Use a ground reference for the actual panels for the counterweight. Get it up out of the dirt. I need to get it away from the wheel at the front there. No touching. Awesome. So it really doesn't need to be 4 wide. I'll make the ones in the front taller since they tend to scoop below the river a lot of times. Alright, clone this thing out. I'm going to go with a spacing of 8. That's my typical. Other ones totally work too, so just so you know, it's not some magical number. Cool, I got it out this far. I'm going to go ahead and raise this thing up. Yeah, this is extreme, but I'm just showing this. I'm probably just going to delete this thing when I'm done showing it to you because I've got the other one that works so well and I don't really need another one. Great. Okay, now this thing here needs to be extended out to grab a hold of that last one and grab everything with the properties tool. All of these things and these blocks that need to be invisible. So we're going to collision off all of that stuff and invisible all of that stuff. Resave and reload. There we go. Hop in that seat right there. Make sure everything's still there. Sure enough, let's drop it and give that another test. See if this one goes a little smoother. Well, it sure did go smoother, but I think it was maybe a little bit of luck. Protection blocks probably help. I didn't bounce around so much in the first like 3 or 4 stages, so that was good. That was probably protection blocks right there. Time to add some jets. Okay, how do we add jets? Let's see. First, we need to make sure that we can see what we're doing, so I need to turn this one back on because that's one of them that I'm going to use. Cool. And I'm going to grab it and clone it up. I'm going to clone it up right above the thing because I'm going to put a jet up there. And it doesn't have to be anything other than just not touching. And yeah. Okay, and we just need to get out away from this thing, so using the same angle will be just fine since we're already starting from a position that's farther out anyhow. We can do the same thing up here. I'll rotate this one that direction and this one that direction, and then these two the other way, so that they'll all meet in the middle. like so. Little overlap here is just fine because, you know, it looks a little funny, doesn't it? I think it does look funny. I think I'm going to fix that. That's okay. This one here is not the one that looks funny. I'm going to bring that guy in. Cool. And we're going to do the same thing to this one. We're going to bring it in. About like that. Set the same length, which is 27 in this case. That one's set to 27, and this one is 5. So I'm going to move it over to 5. And that seems pretty good. I'm going to just go to and move this thing down, and we'll see if we can make these guys meet a little bit better. Like that. So now the measurements should all be the same again. So here's 30. Let's make that one 30. Bring this one down to 23, 23. Cool. Okay, now this guy here doesn't need to be quite so wide. Doesn't hurt it really if it is, but we're going to add some jets to that. There's that one, and for these you can rotate. Let's see, how do I rotate that? Like so. Put the fin on the inside. I don't know. Let's see if it does the same thing over here. There we go. Alright, is that like even? I think it does. I think that's good. I'm going to move them and just scoot them in a little bit more. So you can't be interfering the hitbox with the thing that you expect to spin here. So we're just going to move them over 1. Yeah, let's just do 1. And then I'm going to move them down just a little bit to kind of center them on that. That's okay, right there. Doesn't have to be perfect. That one's really well centered. That one's not. Let's bring it down another notch. There we go. Cool. And this one here, I can bring it down into this just a little ways. Excellent. So 3 of them just kind of reinforce each other. So when one of them gets taken out, you still got a couple other ones. Now they need to be binded. So I'm going to unbind the original bindings by clicking them and then clicking my chair. And then I'm going to click them again and click the chair. I'm going to set that to E for emergency, because that's how I remember it. Alright, now select all of this stuff. I'm going to invisible and collision off all of this. Can't get a hold of that block right there. That's a pickle. Let's see if I can get to a better angle. There you go. That did it. Collision off. Invisible 100%. That looks good. Now you can color the wheel if you want to. I'm going to color it. I'm going to color it blue. I'm going to color all of this stuff blue. Just because I colored my other one green. Okay, I'm going to leave the gold. The gold looks kind of pretty. It's a good combination. Ooh, I'm going to color the inside of these things. These wheels inside here deserve to be gold. Awesome. I'm going to, let's see, what else do I need to do? Save and reload, I guess. Great. Alright, let's see. Let's make sure the jets work. Ooh, that's nice. Very nice. Cool. To the treasure! Oh my gosh! Oh, I didn't add the dragon harpoons yet. But you can see how those were added in that other one. I just turned on match rotation in the build tool, and that kind of helps you get those dragon harpoons inside. And you want to turn those collision off, and then you want to use the binding tool to make sure they're not binded to anything, because you certainly don't want to be, you know, harpooning something as you fly by. Hey, there's a good use for the jets. Get me out of trouble right there. That wasn't the most graceful getting me out of trouble that it could possibly have been, but it worked. Hey, awesome! To the treasure again! And I'm on my face. Yay! Alright, thank you guys for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial, and I'd love to see those things flying down the river with me. So if you make one, let me know if you see me in a game. I'd like to, maybe we could race or something, because certainly a different size wheel would have different results. So that could be fun. Thank you guys. Have a good one. Please like the video and subscribe to my channel. And check out my other stuff on Hero Plays Roblox if you haven't seen that one already. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.